Well, thanks so much for having me here today. I am Cathy Pieroni. I am an employee of the City of San Diego's Public Utilities Department, and as you may recall, public utilities is both water and wastewater. And I am part of the Speakers Bureau out there talking about the Water Purification Demonstration Project. And if I could just start with a show of hands, how many people have heard of this project already? Put your hands up. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. How many people have been out to tour it already? Put your hands up. Good, good. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, I'm going to give you the presentation I've been giving up and down the city service territory. I've been everywhere from Rancho Bernardo here down to the border, over 20 presentations, and this is what everybody's getting to see right now as we introduce this concept. We go over the who's, the what's, the where's, and the why's. We talk about the water supply challenges that you have heard from our previous speakers already about. And hopefully this little slogan here, Weve No Water, has anybody seen that out there? This is something that Mayor Sanders has been promoting. We have some of the buses and trolleys wrapped with this message, and this has been an important part of our water conservation campaign the last couple of years when we've been in restrictions. And a lot of our ratepayers are very familiar with the fact that they have watering restrictions and they have concerns with that. And so this is the city's of San Diego's pie chart. And as you can see, the vast majority of our current water supplies, and this is 2005 to 2010, is imported water. We count conservation as a supply source, and we could say that during this period, about 12% of our supplies came from conservation. In other words, we'd have to have 12% more water if we weren't already actively doing conservation. The City of San Diego has a very large recycled water project or program. We have two facilities, both North City and down in the Dairy Mart Road by the border, our South Bay facility. The combined treatment capacity of those two facilities is 45 million gallons per day. And perhaps we always make it the color purple. For those of you who may not be familiar with recycled water, what we're doing is we're taking wastewater from the home or from the business. The wastewater goes to one of these two facilities. It's treated through a process of primary, secondary, and then tertiary treatment, at which time this water is not good enough for drinking water, but it is good enough to use on our irrigation. But since it's not good enough for potable, we can't put it through the typical pipes, the potable pipes. So we put it in a whole separate distribution system, and we call them the purple pipes. And so if you see things with purple out there related to water, that's usually recycled water. And then we have our local surface water. The City of San Diego, the water department was formed way back in 1901. And a lot of our original supply diversification strategy was to build reservoirs. And so we actually own 9 drinking water reservoirs. They're located up in the foothills. Most people are familiar with like San Vicente Reservoir. That's one of our better recreation reservoirs. But we have 9 of them. And all of that is capturing rainwater. And yet you can see that's only 7% on average of our drinking water supplies. So yeah, the City of San Diego made a strategic decision way back during the war years, as it was previously mentioned by Chair Hogan, and that we formed the Water Authority, and the Water Authority was put in place to bring the imported water down to us. And it was great. First of all, it was Colorado River water. In 1978, we received State Water Project water. And here's just a nice map that just kind of shows the complexity of the various systems bringing the water to San Diego. And you've probably heard the term before, we're at the end of the pipeline. And it's true. And you can see, just the complexity of all the systems bringing the water to San Diego and other Southern California. Now, another part of this story is what we call the recycled water story. Now, this is interesting. Everybody have an idea of what those dots are on the map? Yes, sir. That's right, wastewater treatment plants. So if you are in Las Vegas, for example, what you're going to do is you're going to take your wastewater, you're going to treat it to maybe a secondary level, maybe tertiary level, and then you're going to do what with that treated wastewater? You've cleaned it up, but it's not potable. What are you going to do with it? You're going to put it back in the river. You put it back in the river. And your downstream community, what are they going to do? They're going to take it out and they're going to shrink it to treated level and so on. If San Diego were an upstream community, we could do that too. We could treat our wastewater, put it back in the river, and send it down to the next downstream community. But guess what? We're at the ocean. We're coastal, so this is it. So what we do right now is we treat our wastewater up to what we call primary plus level, and then we take that to our Point Loma facility. If you've been out to Point Loma, down at the end of the peninsula there, we have a very large facility that treats that water and then takes it out to the ocean 6 miles where it is discharged. Okay. So what we like to say is, we have a little joke in the Public Utilities Department, is that what actually happens in Las Vegas doesn't really stay there. And it's kind of a new way of thinking about recycled water, because the fact of the matter is the water we're drinking today is the same water that the dinosaurs were drinking. Okay, all of our water has been recycled. There's no giant hose going up into outer space bringing down virgin water to this planet. So what we have is nature processes, it treats the water, it makes it clean for human consumption, and what our treatment processes offer is a way to kind of expedite what nature already does for us. So City of San Diego has been doing all of the local supply things that Toby was talking about. And the vase you can see, whoops, I did the wrong thing. Okay, this one. This vase here contains treated tertiary recycled water. So that's wastewater that would be used for irrigation but not for drinking. Okay? And these are our 2 facilities here. And what we started with was a study back in 2004, the water reuse study. And this was a stakeholder process, and our council directed us to do this. And we went and we said, here are our options. We have 2 reclamation facilities. They already exist. But here's what's happening. When do we have the greatest demand for recycled water if 90% of the use is for irrigation? Is it going to be summer or winter? Summer, right. And in the winter months, what happens to that demand? It just crashes, right? So there's not much demand in the winter. So we had to build these facilities to peak demand, so for the summer months, and then in the winter months, we have the production capability, but we're not able to use that water. So that water is being treated and going out to the ocean. We're not reusing it to peak up to optimal production levels. So we got to the end of the study, and it was recommended that we look at a demonstration project for for purifying this recycled water. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. And I talked to San Diegans about this as an opportunity for all San Diegans to start to think about this. And what we promise to do is come back at the end of this demonstration project with real data to help with the decision making. And so this is just an introductory concept opportunity. Folks who have the ability to go down and look at our demonstration project, that's a picture of it. It's been operational since July, a couple months now. It's doing great. It's almost 24/7. I think they're just down for like 15 minutes a day. I was just there last week, and they have produced 200 acre-feet already, and that's water that we put right back into our recycled water system. But this could be a drinking water if it were incorporated into our drinking water system. But what is the demonstration project? It is a 1 million gallon per day facility. Its sole purpose is to show and test what would happen if this were to go to a full-scale facility. It's not the water from here is not being used currently for potable, but it's just being tested. So when we get done with all the testing, we'll have good data on water quality. We're working with our regulators to say, what do you need to hear from us and to be able to see from this demonstration project that will assure you of everything you need to know to make a recommendation of whether this would meet all water quality requirements.